learning too fast, and then there's a lack of mass, or absence of mass. There's an absence of mass, not having something there to learn with. So they have many things they have you doing. You do demonstrations with rocks. You have to make clay demonstrations. You go through, if you're sitting at a table, and if you demonstrate or show a manifestation of a misunderstood word, which is like nervous hysteria, which would be twitching, a lot of people do this when they read. If you do that, that means you have a misunderstood word, and either you know what it is, or I'm going to take the book and I'm going to start going back, okay, what does this mean? What does this mean? And if you cannot tell me the definition, you will look it up and you'll go from there. Now, even if you lean to the side, if you're doodling, if you're looking, if you're doing anything else, that means that you have a misunderstood word. So these books, for some people, can take a really long time to move through.
That's crazy.
So,
Learning tech. It's their bridge to society is what they call it. Learning tech is the bridge to society.
It is, and they truly believe that that is what is wrong with society today, and with children today, is that people are not being cleared on their words. Now, I do understand this, and I do believe it to an extent. It does help. But I don't think that, okay, with all the books I've read in my life, I sure as hell don't know what all the words mean, but I get the meaning, and I know it.
Yeah.
But they are just trying,
Comprehension is a little more...
In books, he uses a lot of words you don't use in other places.
And I think it's very interesting how pompous he is with his vocabulary.
Very entertaining listening to his lectures.
I can learn some of his lectures, and it's just ridiculous. And when you are training to be a course supervisor, you have to listen to some of them on tape. And
which ones?
I don't know. I didn't listen to them. I've heard them. I didn't have to do it for anything. I just had heard them. And I know the people that have to do it for their course, to be a course supervisor, have to stop every time they hear a word they don't understand. Clear it. And keep going. Yeah, it's very intense.
They have their own dictionaries for it.
Yeah, they have. There's a dictionary.
Not the Scrabble dictionary.
I know that. Well, when I went back to work to be a course supervisor, the person who was in charge was trying to. He'd always check, and I'd always have my words cleared or whatever. There's I think there were very few times when I had to go back and clear anything.
Yeah.
But I remember he tried to stump me because he goes, "Well, tell me the definition of if you say a dog is rabid and it needs tied up." And I said, "Well, any given or any one." And he was just like totally stumped. But he showed me this dictionary because you have to know the definition of of as, and just all of this stuff, because if you don't know it, it's a misunderstood word and it just throws you off track.
Okay.
He has a special dictionary, and it has all...
We don't have that yet.
It's a huge... The one that I've seen, it's about this thick, and it's a big book. And it has all the definitions for all those small, everyday words like that. So...
It'd be interesting to hear L Ron's definitions of words.
It's,
Yeah.
And you can use those in a lot of different contexts. You don't really think about it. They are legitimate, but at the same time, it's almost more confusing to look at those definitions than it is to just read on and you know what it means. You can use it in the right context. So that's kind of a abridged version of what the program was.
Okay.
And what I experienced.
Wow. Do you think it helped you in any way? Or do you I went in using, I was really into opiates, I was using cocaine, I was using all kinds of stuff I had been using for quite a few years, and I went in and I'm 8 months sober. Now I don't know, I really wanted to be sober. They claim to have like about a 70% success rate. Most people I know that go end up using again. So I don't know where they get that. I don't know if people are lying.
Everybody's different.
Right. Statistics to back up that claim.
And it's like I think that maybe the people that don't pick up, they say either they claim them as a check, they're good, or they don't count them at all. I don't know how they do that. So
they probably make
they'll say they flunked and didn't complete. So if they didn't complete, then they didn't achieve the full. effect, so they're not going to count them in the statistics.
So
Right.
did you have a heavy withdrawal from the opiate?
It was really weird actually, because I had been using like Oxycontin and methadone and stuff like that, and I used a lot. Like I used to like sniff like 380s a day and stuff, you know.
I was a heroin addict. I went into a rehab program that wasn't Scientology, but it was Christian based. So it was just as bad in a lot of respects because there wasn't methadone.
I didn't get
it
Suboxone or methadone.
This was actually a flat out cold turkey rehab. There wasn't even cough medicine. Everything was caffeine free.
We can't take Tylenol. We can't take Advil.
It was just essentially the same thing, but their logic was hard work while you're sweating and pissing your pants because you need a fix is what it. Jesus beats the sobriety into you.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was.
I got what I needed out of it and then left. Understood the craziness that I left behind, but I never went back to putting needles in my arm. So
No.
I took what I needed and left.
Yeah, well, I was really surprised that and I don't know, because I lived in Columbus my whole life, and I went up to Battle Creek, Michigan. Now,
Ooh.
I know that, yeah, I'm surprised I didn't come back a crackhead. I know that a large part of stopping using was just the actual anxiety of getting high. Now,
Sure.
being up there, I knew I wasn't going to be getting high,
Yeah.
and I wanted to get clean, so I think the lack of anxiety from that really helped the withdrawal not be that bad. Granted, I didn't sleep for like days and days and days and days, but I only got really sick like one day, and I was really surprised. But I have a funny story. It was the end of November, and I get strep throat every year. I mean, doesn't matter, I get strep throat every year. And their belief is every accident and every illness comes from being suppressed. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You are PTS. That is the only way. Well, I felt I had been so tired, and I could just feel it coming on, and I just kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I told them, I said, I'm getting strep throat. No, you're not. And this is literally what the course supervisors told me. They go, take these vitamins and tell yourself you're not getting sick and you won't get sick. I'm like, no, I don't think you get it.
Yeah.
So I ended up having bronchitis and strep throat, and I had a temperature of like 102, and they had me do a study order, which was going into book 5 and looking at suppressive people, looking at PTS and all of this, certain things they wanted me to look through the book. While I was sick, I'm sitting there doing this, and this was their belief.
Trying to find who is suppressing you?
Exactly. And there was no one my tonsils were suppressing me. I got into a screaming match with one of the course supervisors, and I think people on the other side of the building heard me. I was so mad. I was so sick. And finally, it just got to the point, because I would not get better. And they're like, okay, you can go lay down. Finally, they let me have a day off. If you do something like you don't come to class, because you're sick, you don't feel good, you will probably catch ethics. With an ethics, they will give you study orders. You'll go in depth through whatever they feel.
Catch a cold, catch a ethics.
Exactly. It's, whatever they feel, if you're sick, you're probably being suppressed.
Yeah.
If you are committing an overt, if you're doing something off, that means you have other overts. You need to study the dynamics, you need to write your overts and withholds, and you need to repair your conditions.
This is all language that you learned in narCONon.
Yes.
This is total Scientology.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
total
and it's really
Scientology. Yeah,
funny
they're
because they will
indoctrinating.
claim,
It's not
we're
part
not
of the,
Scientologists, blah, blah, blah. They have pictures of L Ron, and their books are by L Ron Hubbard. And the further I got, the more I discovered that this is what Scientology is.
Yeah, I didn't know that narCOnon was part of Scientology. I listened to sports radio
They'll
like all
deny up and
day.
down that they're part of Scientology.
Huh?
But there are.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, I figured, like I said, I didn't know because
Also
you guys
QAnon
hadn't
and-
told me is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they advertise it. But I listen to sports radio all the time. They have commercials for narCOnon like 3 o'clock in the morning all the time. All the
Really?
time.
Huh.
See if I can get some
Well,
of those on tape.
I know that they wanted me to be in an ad, which I quit before, but they are going to start showing ads on ABC, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to be part of one of those, and I left before.
And they've got radio ads.
But
I'm thinking about it. While you were dealing with strep and everything, did they have a doctor on the premises?
they had a doctor come in once a week to see people, and if you needed to go, I went and I left and saw a doctor. They really can't deny you your medical rights. That's where they might run into some issues.
I know that narCONon is on the org board at the org. It is on the board.
Down there.
It is. I haven't been in a church